The video games industry is one of the most innovative and fastest growing industries in the world. The men and women of this industry work tirelessly to provide entertainment for the masses, and some of these provide the music that we love, music that we listen to when we're enjoying ourselves playing those video games, music that we love, music that we listen to when we're enjoying ourselves listening to video games. Do we even know who these people are? No. Would video games be the same without them? No. What you're about to hear are not real songs.
Hello and welcome everybody to another episode of the Indie Magazine Sunday Newscast. Look! I remembered it! Yes!
Alright, we can all go home now. We got the title right.
Joining me today is our editor-in-chief for IGM, Vinny Parisi.
That is me.
And as always, I am Nick Cescon, also known as the Average Gamer.
No Bonnie today. She's taking care of some family stuff.
Yeah.
I assume she will rejoin us next week.
Yeah. We'll be looking forward to her coming back.
So today you're just gonna have to settle for the dynamic duo.
So how's your week been, Vinny?
Pretty good. Getting excited to help launch Game Dev Market, which is our new initiative. We're working alongside those guys.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's
huge. A lot of devs
huge.
are all about, looking for resources, and this place is information and assets. So if you want to start an indie project, it's a pretty cool place to check out.
Cool. Do we have a link for that, actually?
Yeah, I can post a link.
Cool.
Other than that, just prepping for June issue of the mag. This is going to turn into just like one long pitch for our stuff.
Yeah.
I swear that's what I've been doing this week, nothing else.
People don't know the life
Godzilla,
of...
so I'll have something to talk about.
Godzilla's next week?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh my god.
I think it's on Friday.
Oh my god.
Yep.
Not that I'm a big Godzilla fan or anything.
Neither. I mean, I really haven't watched anything past the last American one, and I know that was garbage, but I've seen enough of classic Godzilla to know that he could be cool.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I'm
pretty excited for the new one.
I have a very extensive VHS collection.
Oh, do you?
Oh yeah, I've got it from the very, very first one all the way to Godzilla 2000.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
My cousin has most of the VHSs, but I've never watched any of them. There's he has 15. I don't even know how many movies there are, but he's got a ton of them.
Oh man, that's crazy.
Yeah, I don't even know if we have a way to play him anymore.
Kind of funny how we're getting into the world that way, where decrepit technology is not even available to watch.
I know, I have all these VHSs. I don't know what to do with them, but I need one. I need a VHS to Blu-ray converter.
Yeah,
that's got to be a thing, right?
Yeah, totally.
Oh, Whisper says I'm quiet. Oh, okay. I'm okay now? Yell at me if I'm too quiet.
Yeah, I turned you up a little bit. It may be me that's too loud, too.
Thank you.
I'll turn myself down. There. Well, it should be about the same now. So, first up on the docket is, apparently Don't Starve is getting a multiplayer expansion?
Yes, this is not a joke. Apparently they felt the need to address that. I guess some people were like, nah, stop kidding around. April Fool's was a while ago. But no, this is legitimate. They're getting a free multiplayer expansion.
Oh my god.
Play Entertainment announced it just a few days ago, actually. It's slated for later this summer. And it actually, there's a quote on the link that we had from Joe W. on the official forums for the company.
Wow.
Just talking about how multiplayer has actually been on the table for a while. They just didn't have the manpower or the resources to handle it. But Klee recently expanded a little bit and took on a few new employees. And the first thing these employees did was put together a proof of concept prototype just to prove it was possible. And everyone else was like, yeah, go for that. That's awesome.
Huh. Wow, that's crazy. I'm going to be looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's going to be 2 to 4 players, and actually they're leaning towards making it a 4-player minimum. So I guess whatever they've got planned, they really want a lot of people to jump into this.
Do we know if it's going to be co-op or if it's going to be a choice between Terraria? You can kind of do teams and fight against each other or work with each other?
I don't think they've specified, but the way they've phrased the multiplayer, it sounds like it's going to be a cooperative experience.
Interesting. That's still
Yeah.
awesome. That means I might actually
Yeah.
survive past my first night in Don't Starve.
Or maybe they'll just scale the difficulty and you'll
Yeah.
survive even less.
I'll drag the person down with me.
But yeah, debuting this summer, hopefully, and Steam first, and then consoles later, or other platforms later.
Oh, cool.
So should be a pretty good time.
Yeah, definitely. This one interested me. I was checking this over. The the YouTube content comment.
Yes. So yeah, we actually got an email about this a week or so ago, and the developer, he was like, "I just put up this video. I'm looking for feedback because I don't really know where I want to take the game. You know, it's very experimental." And he just kind of put this out, not as a prototype because it's mostly finished, but just as like to get feedback. And
Yeah.
I mean, YouTube is YouTube, but people can be really awful sometimes on YouTube, which is funny because we're going to archive this on YouTube, but it is what it is. They gave him some really nasty comments about being pretentious and how like this game, there's nothing to do in this game, and it's a waste of time, and why would you even post this video? And it's like this guy reached out for help, and
Yeah.
they were just terrible to him.
And he did have a pretty good sense of humor, actually. Like, he took a lot of it in stride, and he was responding to a lot of it very professionally and very well.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that's absolutely true.
But it's
I just,
still
I don't know, I
YouTube.
mean, I feel like, it's a lot of times the indie community is great, and I mean, I don't know who these people are on YouTube. I'm not saying they're part of the indie community or not part of it, but the indie community is really supportive, and I feel like it gets to a point where you sort of expect that support because everybody's so nice for the most part on like the Reddit thread, or when you come into a forum somewhere, a dedicated indie forum, and other developers are there to actually legitimately support you and offer constructive criticism and feedback. So when you go onto YouTube and it's like the Wild West and 95% of the comments are just like, you don't belong here, get out. It's awful.
Just toxic. Just absolutely toxic. Especially, like, in the indie gaming community, one of the things that we take the trophy on is, like, experimental things, or stuff that you couldn't do in AAA gaming because it's experimental and it may not work monetarily. And because of that, we need to have this positive community around us, encouraging us to do these things rather than getting slapped in the face for trying to be different.
Absolutely. But yeah, I mean, there wasn't too much of a news story out of that. I just really wanted to address that because, I don't know, it kind of upset me that this guy was looking for help and he just didn't get the help he was looking for on YouTube.
Yeah.
But yeah, kudos to him for sticking through it, and I mean, he took it in stride.
Mm-hmm. The next one is this really cool video that we found. This one is the guys that made The Last of Us. I'm just going to show probably like 10 seconds of this video. But they've made a video on the new Crytek engine, which is interesting because technically what they're saying is that using the Crytek engine, these graphics could be... where should we play from? They could be gameplay graphics.
You're really not going to show this whole thing because it only gets better with time.
Sure, we can show the whole thing. I have no problem.
I think we can show the whole thing. We should put a disclaimer. It gets a little bit graphic towards the end.
Yeah.
The guys who put this together are the same guys who did some of the
Last of Us.
cuts, the CG for The Last of Us, so it does get a little bit graphic.
Yeah. Now, I should also say that the whole point that I wanted to show with news is that this engine and like the newer engines for the gaming can be licensed. So it is possible for a lot of indie studios to actually use these engines. So it would be neat to see some of the indie games we play looking like this.
Yeah.
Am I going to die?
No, my pretty. There are things locked in your head that I must see before we can release you.
Will it hurt?
Oh, yes.
Is that all you got?
You're late.
Man, when when the eyeball comes out of his head is just nasty.
Oh man,
Oh man.
I can't like. We watched the video just before just to prepare, and the first time laser eyes shot out, I was just like, oh, that guy's not having a good day.
If you guys want to watch that, I'll link it. So that's a really cool
Oh, yeah.
one. But like I said, that is possibly what? No. That's possibly where indie gaming could easily come in. We've seen in the last couple months, if a lot of people watch like the bigger guys in YouTube, that there are a lot of indie games that have been using the new CryEngine, and they look unbelievably good. So I'll be interested to see. Grave was one of them. Like that game, for being what it is, the graphics are unbelievable. And we're finally kind of getting to that point where graphics aren't the most expensive part of the game when you're building it.
Yeah, we got CryEngine going, and Unreal Engine 4. Now that people can license it for pretty cheap per month. A lot of developers are using it. It gets a little tricky though with the crowdfunding because it does cost a little bit.
Yeah.
So we're seeing higher end crowdfunds that require like 200K. I don't know how the community's going to react to that right away. You know, some of them will get funded, probably most won't.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
The cost maybe needs to come down a little bit more before we start seeing more games running, you know, current gen graphics almost. Well, I guess 360 PS3 era graphics.
Yeah.
But it's definitely getting there. We're getting to a point where people don't have to look at indies and just think that it means casual mobile games. They're getting a lot better visually.
Now we don't have to just keep saying that we're doing retro graphics by choice. We can actually mean that we're doing retro graphics by choice.
Right. And it'll be really good too, because a lot of people still graphics are more important than gameplay. So once the graphics are on par, people will actually give more indie games a shot and realize, oh wait a minute, these games have been great all along.
Yeah. Focus is asking how much the engine is, and I think we have some content coming up in the June issue about that, don't we? Well, just about.
CryEngine, I'm not sure. I know for a fact Unreal Engine 4 is $20 a month.
Oh, there you go.
CryEngine I haven't looked at though. I've only been researching Unreal because soon, not for the June issue, but soon we're going to be covering Unreal Engine 4.
That's so cool.
Yeah. I don't know what I'm doing, but it looks really cool.
Perfect.
It'll take me 6 months just to make the most ridiculous and uninspired thing. But...
Oh man, I would crowdfund a game made. You just need to call it Game Made by Vinny Parisi, and I think you'd have it funded.
It would really just be like a penguin sliding on his belly down a mountain, and that's the best I could do.
Oh, like a ski free. You just do a
totally white background, black and white character, just the absolute basic.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, next up, we have a game that a lot of people are going to be excited about. It's called Minimon. What is Minimon?
Yeah.
Vinny, what is Minimon?
Minimon is the game you've been dreaming of. It's an MMO at Pokemon-esque MMO. We got to show this video for sure because this is so cool. And we'll talk a little bit about the news portion afterwards.
Okay.
But it is an adventure RPG and it's an MMO.
Here we go. Pokemon MMO. Thoughts?
What more could you want?
Right?
That's my thoughts.
Yeah, that's going to be popular.
I think it's a really cool idea. There's a list of features. The game's still pretty early in production. The art is not final. We'll talk about that in a second. But as far as game features, there's over 200 monsters to capture and collect. There's 100 different locations. There's battle arenas. A survival mode. You saw in the video, you can physically summon the creatures and ride them so that they interact with the environment and stuff. They're actually there. They're not just in the battle. Well, actually, Pokemon's been doing that now. Haven't they? The Pokemon follow you around these days?
Yep.
I haven't played since.
Yeah, you can.
Fire Red.
From what? Yeah, I played Red. My wife has X, I think. You can ride ponitas and stuff now.
Okay, so they're starting to do that already. But that was one of the things I always wanted to do. But there's also, you can create your own clan and guild. There's personalized guilds, which is pretty wild.
That's neat.
Yeah. Yep. But the news portion is that this guy actually needs a little help. He's looking for an artist. So if you've got some artistic talent and have always wanted to draw Pokemon-esque creatures, I would get in contact with him. I don't think we have an email address for. Well, actually, we do have an email address for him. because he emailed us. So I can post his email address in a chat if you'd like to talk to him, if you'd like to reach out. Yeah, he's looking for art help because he's done all of the art so far on his own, but he's a programmer, so admittedly it's not his he's not very art savvy.
Takes a big man to admit sometimes.
Yeah, props for him for sure. Here we go. Here's the email address. But yeah, I mean, it's a really cool concept. He's looking to get it off the ground. I don't think it's going to have any problems getting greenlit on Steam.
No.
I don't think there's a crowdfunding effort, but if he's already doing it on his own, then it's no big deal.
Okay, yeah, and there's the email in chat. Okay, and that concludes the news portion of this week's episode. On to fun games! Holy crap, we have a lot of games this week.
I know, but the videos are so short.
Yeah.
I was trying to fill the time, and then I realized we have so many, but they're only a minute and a half long. So let's just keep getting bigger.
So, let's start off with Celestial Tier Demon's Revenge. Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a big fan of the 2D JRPGs. That's where I spent most of my childhood gaming. So I really take a shining to these types. But this is actually pretty interesting. There's a diverse cast of 12 characters that you can play as, I guess, in your party, and they each have different stories. What's interesting is that most of the storytelling, according to the Kickstarter page, I don't know if we posted in chat. Yeah, we'll post in chat.
There we go.
It's based on exploration.
Oh.
So, I mean, there'll be story and cutscenes and whatever, but a lot of the extra stuff that you find out about the world itself, you get from traveling off the beaten path. You can see in the video a little bit. The guy was cutting down the tall grass and moving the boxes around and stuff like that to access secret areas and all that stuff. So yeah, a lot of the world's history you'll find just by stumbling upon hidden areas through exploration.
That's pretty cool.
And another cool thing, the combat system, they call it conditional turn-based, but I grew up, it was action turn-based when I was growing up. People, I guess, will equate it to Final Fantasy, but for me it was Grandia the first time I saw action turn-based, where you could plan out your moves, you could see the order in which people were going and cancel out moves and stuff like that. But that's my favorite battle system, so as soon as I saw it, I was like, this one is worth checking out. What else is there to say about this one? Well,
It's interesting. It just started. 30 grand seems pretty doable, actually, for a game of that caliber. I really like the art, the comic style art. It's
Yeah.
like almost a Western theme for the artistry or the art. Blah, blah.
Yeah, a lot of games have actually been doing the comic style art that we've seen recently. I guess, I mean, I don't know if it's easier to do or it's just more fun to draw, if it gives you more artistic freedom when you're painting the cutscenes, but it looks nice for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think this is the second time they've been on Kickstarter actually, but the last time was like 2 years ago, so they've really put a lot more effort into the game since then on their own. And so now they're back looking for more funding, and I think they'll do better this time because the game is a lot more polished than it was a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And they're also on Steam Greenlight as well. But it's a cool story. I mean, I like the environment, I like the combat system, I like having a big party to choose from, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's neat. Next up, we have Axe Thrower. This one looks interesting, but unfortunately, it needs help.
Yeah.
It does have a demo, so we'll link this after the video if you guys want to try the demo, but this is Axe Thrower.
For sure.
That looks adorable!
I know. Can't you just imagine this being a competitive esport?
Definitely.
Like, I honestly could imagine going to EVO and seeing the slate of games just be Marvel vs. Capcom, Street Fighter, Tekken, BlazBlue, Guilty Gear, and then Axe Thrower. Because I mean, if people get into this, there's going to be a level of strategy to it. It's a fun idea that I really haven't seen too much before.
I also like the growing trend of like going back to the old school multiplayer, where it's like you and 3 friends sitting there and just beating on each other.
Yeah. I mean, I love the idea. I love the animations. I love the characters. It's so silly. But it seems well put together. I mean, there's the catching component.
Yeah.
The physics of it. It seems like it would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how patient I'd be not being able to have a weapon, just having to share it with the group. But I feel like it would be a blast.
Okay.
I don't know, but money-wise, yeah, they do need a lot of help. The goal is 40,000, and they're at 434.
Yeah.
But the Kickstarter's it's only about halfway through. It's still got 18 days to go. But they do have a demo you can try.
And a lot of times there is a push, like a huge push right at the end of a Kickstarter. I've seen lots of Kickstarters be at like 50% and then make it in the last day.
Yeah, the final 48 hours are pretty clutch.
Yeah.
I don't know if they have anything special planned for it. Usually some devs do like a stream or something.
Yeah.
But I think it'll be interesting.
Okay, next up is Contested Space. Do you want to tell us a little bit about this one?
Okay. This is the online sandbox game.
Yeah.
So basically, it's a ship combat game in a single persistent universe, which means everybody is on one server, basically. There's no shards or anything.
So
it's ship combat. and players design their own ships and stations
Oh.
and defend their territory from outside alliances or factions, what have you.
Cool.
So, I mean, the persistent universe is key because the larger, the fan base grows, the harder it's going to be to maintain possession of your corner of the galaxy, I guess you could say.
Yeah. All right.
It has RPG elements. Oh, you want to play the video?
Yeah.
Talk
Well,
more about
yeah.
it?
All good.
Go for it.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's a neat idea. I mean, it's not too narrative heavy. It's the role-playing aspect comes from the freedom of being able to kind of put together your own team and set your own goals, and try to. Ideally, I guess most people will just want to try to take over as much of the galaxy as they can, or create a working empire that they can manage.
Obviously, there's a line you can draw here parallel to Eve. But it being able to create your own content is kind of an interesting twist on it.
Yeah.
It looks like this one is going to be subscription as well, but I'm guessing like $5 a month.
Yeah, I don't know if they've mentioned the price yet. I didn't notice it when I looked over the Kickstarter before. But yeah, there is the subscription service. I guess it probably also depends on... I mean, most of the backing tiers are for a month to a year subscription to the game, so the first year most people will have just built in.
Yeah, exactly.
When you're back.
It's really cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. He's looking to do. Obviously, there'll be post-launch content, so they'll keep adding stuff as the game goes on. I believe there's going to be a demo soon, if there's not already as well.
Yeah, there's a test server coming out as well.
Okay, yeah, that's what it is. So I'd be on the lookout for that if you're interested in it.
Yeah. Huh, that's really neat. Next up we have...
Oh, actually, it does say $5 a month before you play the video. It does say $5 a month for
there you go.
Space. Down the bottom.
Next up is a game that not a lot of people have heard about. It's called Hover. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, man. There's going to be riots in the street.
This one did get funded, and we have had not just Focus, but we have had a lot of people actually asking about H-Hour. So for a lot of people that don't know, this is, it says right there, it's from the creators of the Cescon games, which fell to the wayside, I found, after, the PlayStation 2. And they were so ridiculously popular. But I'm going to play the video and we can chat about it after.
Okay.
Hi everyone, I'm David Sears, Creative Director for H-Hour Worlds Elite, coming to you soon on PlayStation 4 and PC hardware. You may know me most recently as the Creative Director for Rainbow Six Patriots, but if you ever played PlayStation 2 games, you might know me better as the creative director for SOCOM 1 and SOCOM 2. And in all my years of making video games, nothing has compared to the experience that we had making those early SOCOM games. There's something special, something wonderful, and something magical about SOCOM 1 and SOCOM 2. H-Hour Worlds Elite is, as I've said, the spiritual successor to SOCOM 1 and SOCOM 2. And a lot of people really want that SOCRAC experience, so we're going to give you that on PlayStation 4. But at the same time, a lot of PC gamers have never had that experience and that particular addiction that so many SOCOM fans love and crave. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're making a PC game that's comparable to the PS4 version, a tactical team-based military shooter. It's all about teamwork, because without watching your buddies back, you're all going to die. The team we've put together to make H-Hour Worlds Elite is definitely world class. These guys have worked at major publishers such as Ubisoft, Sony, Activision, and many others, but you know their games even better than the places that they've worked. These guys have worked on games such as Rainbow Six, America's Army, and SOCOM, as well as Modern Warfare. So the pedigree and the talent of these guys can't be denied, and I've worked with them before, so I trust them implicitly to follow my design and to follow my vision. But we're not just working with super talented game developers. We're working with retired and highly decorated Special Forces operators. These guys, they're not afraid to bring weapons to the office, because I need to know. I need to know how a weapon actually performs. So they actually instruct me and our other team members in firearm safety and handling and how to shoot. So we go out to the range and we actually learn what a weapon feels like. We learn it over and over and over again until it's ingrained. So I can tell you that having the expertise of top-notch military trainers on my team makes a huge difference in the quality of authenticity in H-Hour Worlds Elite. It's a military shooter. It should have some former military men and women on the team. People ask me all the time, what do I like best about SOCOM? Well, there's a lot. I mean, for one thing, I like the fact that it was a skill-based game in which you could actually see yourself improving the more you play. I liked the fact that it was a team-based game, and that if you didn't cooperate with your teammates and watch your buddies back, you very often ended up dead. I liked the fact that it was a game that supported stealth gameplay, but at the same time could skew right over to run and gun. It was a perfect balance in many ways. And that's what we want to recreate with H-Hour. So what is this SOCRAC experience, the SOCOM 1 and SOCOM 2 experience, the H-Hour Worlds Elite experience? Well, it's things like custom lobby rooms that allow you to go right to where gamers are playing the kind of game that you want. You don't have to wander around in a fog of war wondering if anyone else is online and why matchmaking is taking forever. All of our maps are designed around a single gameplay mode. That's what drives the design. However, if that map, designed for escort mode, also plays really well as deathmatch, we'll let you play deathmatch. So many of the parameters for online play are fully customizable that you're going to be able to tailor the experience from hardcore to easy access without any kind of problem. We're really going to try to make this easy for you guys to create exactly the experience that you want, just like the original SOCOMs. Just like in SOCOM, you'll be able to use the D-pad to lean out. There is no sticky cover system. There is no health regeneration because bullets are lethal. Round-based is the focus for our online matches. So if you hit a tiebreaker, you're going to play that tiebreaker until somebody wins. Strafing gunfights. SOCOM players have always loved very, very agile, responsive characters, and the circle spiral of death that would often result when two players got the drop on each other at precisely the same time. That's coming back. This is a skill-based game, and a lot of people like to call SOCOM hardcore. Well, I have to tell you that when we were making SOCOM, what we intended was a game with mass market appeal, and it certainly had that. It wasn't until years later that people decided it was hardcore. So you're going to be able to recreate that experience right out of the box with H-Hour. However, all of the tunable parameters that we're giving you will allow you in non-ranked games to create an experience that is friendlier, more forgiving, more accessible for new gamers. And if you're a new gamer, our analytics are going to help coach you into becoming a good gamer. If you're already a good gamer, you're going to become a great gamer. And finally, I have to say that a lot of the game modes that you knew and loved in those early PS2 SOCOMs are coming back. We're going to fix some of the problems with AI, so things are going to be a little more responsive, but the same rapid pace, moment-to-moment, objective-based gameplay is coming back. I receive a lot of email from PC gamers asking why they should support H-Hour on Kickstarter. Well, while SOCOM is generally associated with PlayStation hardware and was the introduction to online shooter gaming for a lot of people, I have to tell you that when I was designing SOCOM, the games I was looking at and inspired by were Rainbow Six, SWAT 3, and Counter-Strike. So there's a lot of that DNA in SOCOM already. And you can bet that as a designer, I'm going to return to what works well. As a special bonus, when our Kickstarter campaign concludes successfully, Seth Luisi, the original producer of SOCOM, has agreed to appear in H-Hour Worlds Elite as the villain. That's right, you get to shoot Seth Luisi as much as you want in H-Hour.
So, H-Hour. The return of the competitive SOCOM gameplay style.
Yeah, well, there's a lot going on here. But it's pretty high production values for sure. I don't know. I mean, I'm not much of a shooter fan in general, but I really have next to no experience with SOCOM other than the original. So this is going to be all you talking about that aspect. But what I can comment on is the audio, and they're working with oh man, I'm going to butcher her name real good. I believe it's Penka Korneva, who was the composer for Prince of Persia: The Forgotten Sands, among many other things. But she is no stranger to composing, so I assume that the music will be equally as good, if not better, than the visual aspect of the game.
Definitely. I played a lot of SOCOM myself, but one of the things I'm always a fan of is when a studio will do the proper reference work. Like, you know, if it's about the military, bring in the military. It was one of my favorite things about, now I'm going to blank on the name, Star Wars Commando. Because they what is it? It was like a perfect triumvirate. They brought in ex-SAS from Britain to find out what kind of squad tactics they should be using in the game. So I can totally appreciate when they do that kind of thing. They're working hand in hand with people who have been in the field to make it a more realistic gameplay style.
Now, the studio is actually made up of a few people that are ex-special forces, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Special operations.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that is really cool when you can get that authentic inspiration and examples to use.
Yeah, so I'll be looking forward to that one coming out for sure.
Is there an ETA on release date? Because this got funded a while ago, right? Back in July?
Yeah. I didn't see like a solid release date yet. I think they're still just kind of developing.
Okay.
Yeah, so hopefully I'm going to assume probably like this time next year for a game like that called Caliber.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty interesting.
Yeah. Okay, next up we have Codemancer, which is neat. I was looking at this one last week as well. And this one is most ridiculously definitely funded, which is nice. So I say we just watch the video on this one because it kind of explains itself, and then we can chat about it.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm Rob Lockhart, and this is Codemancer. I started building Codemancer because a lot of us think that for a young person to get started programming, tools and toys just don't go far enough. I believe that programming is a form of literacy that everybody should be exposed to. But computer science is one of the few areas of scholarship where diversity is actually decreasing. Codemancer is designed to be as inclusive as possible by taking the principles of technology out of the cultural context of technology and into a fantasy world. We can make more people feel more welcome, which means that future technologies will be for everyone. The game also has an emotional story which really motivates you to become a Codemancer. The story is inspired by great books like Harry Potter, Mistborn, and The Neverending Story. With the narrative game, we can bring more people into the technology family at an early age and increase the quality and pace of human progress. I've been working on the game for 9 months now, and it's really coming together. But I need your help to get it out the door. Things like art assets, music, sound effects, voice acting, and festival attendance really add up. So that's why I'm here asking for your help. Please become a backer and tell your friends. Together we can make programming more approachable and more fun.
I'm sorry. You cannot name drop The Neverending Story and have me not be excited.
Yeah, I mean, I really love this idea. I love using games as an educational resource.
Yeah.
The thing that I'm a little bit confused about is that the game is targeted for kids. Specifically, the range they give is 9 to 14-year-olds. And that's fine. But then it also says a little bit further down the page that they want to cover the same material that you would cover in a typical programming 101 course at university. And as accessible as a programming game you can make, I don't know how you I don't know a lot of 9-year-olds that are ready for university.
Yeah.
Yeah. 9 years old, like I still wanted to be a Ninja Turtle when I grew up. I was not ready to be a programmer.
It's okay, Vinny. One day.
Like, I'm pretty sure I was still shouting down the sewer, waiting for one of them to jump out. And I mean, I was pretty good at gaming. I've been gaming for a long, long time. Since 2 years old, I started playing Mario, and not just like fumbling through it, finishing the game.
Yeah.
So I know my way around video games, but that seems like a disparity to me to say that they're going to cover a university level course, but it's targeted for 9 to 14-year-olds.
Yeah, exactly. I will say that it has been a growing trend because I think this trend is mostly because indie gaming is becoming more accessible, and lots of people, like the Ludum Dare competitions, that kind of thing, lots more people are getting into it, that you're starting to see a lot of these games where the mechanics are actually like programming languages. This is actually the third game that I've seen where it's trying to teach the player like quintessential or basic programming skills to actually get through the game, because I think it's becoming that trend that, hey, look, these games are easy to make and we'd love to get you into it.
Yeah, I mean, I love the idea. There was another game, I can't recall the name of it, I should have looked it up before. They had a game on Kickstarter where the point was, it was like an RPG, turn-based RPG, I believe, and the goal was to teach you Japanese.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, wow, yeah, that's definitely for me, because I would love to learn Japanese, especially being, in the gaming industry. But I just, I haven't really, A, had the time, and B, it's kind of a daunting task. But if you could make a game that will help me get started, I will definitely be all over it.
It actually touches on a larger topic as well called gamification, because it's using games in that educational way. Who is it? Extra Credits does a really good episode on it.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, trying to show how games can be used to teach or enhance your actual lives. I know my wife plays a browser-based game called Habit RPG, and in the game you make like a to-do list of what you want to do during the day, during the week, during the month, and as you complete the tasks, you check them off, and you'll gain experience, your person will level up, you'll get new gear. And if you don't do the tasks, you start losing health.
Right. Yeah, I've heard of this game actually. I don't know if anyone has read the book "Reality Is Broken" by Jane McGonigal, but it's a book about how games can better basically every aspect of life, from business management to education to just basic like community functions. And I really don't understand why we don't have more games in the classroom now. We're finally getting to that point now that gaming is becoming more mainstream. But I don't really understand why it took so long, because it was so easy to tell, even from the days of Mario, that gaming has such potential in the classroom to be an educational tool, to teach so many things, from teamwork to community building to management simulation, just like every aspect of life almost. Other than physical eye contact and social interaction, you can really learn from games. I mean, most of the puzzle solving skills and the critical thinking skills I have are because of games.
Oh yeah,
sure.
Completely.
So I mean, I don't know. It's always made sense to me, so I don't know why it doesn't make sense to everyone else.
I touched on that topic a little bit on my blog, but I won't go into it because it's one of my longer posts. So.
Well, I guess the point is we need more educational games. We just need to get the message out there. Once people can see, hey, look, these games can be a tool.
Yeah.
We'll get more of them.
Well,
different topics that appeal to everyone.
It's like I back this project. My child gets to play this game, and he learns how to program. So he goes into school, grade 5 or 6, goes into a programming class, and he's teaching the teacher how to program. Like, that's good for me.
Yeah.
The next one we have is not going to be funded. I'm going to say that right now. It needs $125,000 and it's sitting at 20 with 3 days left.
Oh man.
That's unfortunate too, because salvage it. Well, we'll watch the video, but I was looking forward to this one.
I know.
My name is Alex Peterson, captain of the salvage vessel Thaddeus, and we need your help.
Oh, that quote.
The main image that I've been using to sell this game within the team and when talking to other people about it is that one particular scene in Aliens. When they first encounter the aliens and Ripley and Gorman are in the NPC, and Gorman loses it. Throughout that sequence you can see what's going on through their helmet covers. You're kind of detached and you're powerless to do anything about it. And it's really immediate, it's really powerful. We want to really recreate that feeling where you're totally in control but you're sort of disconnected at the same time. And the really unique thing about the game is that you control it from your smartphone or your tablet in this kind of dual screen way of playing the game. You have a top-down interface on the tablet where you can interact with your different characters and send them around, specify their targets, specify their move positions, and really set up the tactics and strategy of your team. And all the while you're seeing through their points of view on the main screen, a first-person view of what's going on in the world. So the information you gain through looking through the eyes of your team complements perfectly the information you get from looking at this kind of raw top-down view.
Oh, that makes me sad.
I love the idea for this.
Aliens is like my favorite movie, and is arguably the best movie ever made. Not really arguably with me, but I realize that other people have opinions.
Now, I mean, second screens, I don't know, are a bit of a talking point because they're not usually something that you want to force on people, especially if it's a PC game that then also requires a tablet. Now, that's not this case specifically because you can play dual screen on the PC, but just in general saying that the game is better if you have an accessory that you may or may not already own.
Yeah, you
is a
kind
tough
of shoot
sell.
yourself in the foot there.
So like when they said it was on Wii U, I was like, okay, well that makes the most sense because you have a second screen built in.
Oculus also makes sense to me, just because one of the most natural things for Oculus is a game where you're not moving and you're still playing it, kind of thing. So I could see that work. But again, you'd need both of those.
Yeah, right. I don't know. $125,000 is a lot of money, but if you look at the backing rewards, we talked a little about this over the past few weeks, but if you backed at certain tiers, you got a copy of every version of the game, and I feel like you would have run into some trouble when it came time for release, because people paid, like $30-something, and they get an Oculus Rift version, a Wii U code, and PC Mac Linux code. I don't know. It's a lot of codes to give out, especially let's be honest, a lot of people aren't going to have Oculus Rift when it launches.
No.
So if you're giving out Oculus Rift codes, people are just going to sell those. They're just going to turn right around and sell them to somebody who has an Oculus Rift.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I had some questions about the backing and the structure of the Kickstarter, but the game has a lot of potential. So I would like to see maybe alternative crowdfunding, or if they get picked up by an indie publisher. I don't know if they said anything about that yet.
Because it has some really interesting mechanics, which is what I love about the indie gaming, and what I love about crowdfunding, and what I love about this whole kind of community.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I love those XCOM style tactical games, and second screen makes sense for sure. So like, if it came out, the finished product would be a lot of fun to play it. So it would seem from what we've just looked at.
Yeah, totally.
So hopefully this isn't the end for Salvaged.
Okay. Loading human.
After this, we also got to do Blood and Children of War. I don't know if you saw that.
Oh, did I?
We gotta look
This
that
one?
up, too.
Oh yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah.
We can do that right now.
Okay. Yeah, because I want to talk about that for sure.
Yeah. So,
Children of War, Blood and Snow.
Yeah. This one's pretty fresh. It's got a lot of backers, considering it's only 5 days. That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. We'll take a look.
Okay.
Where they rest, lament is sown. Where they step, ravens feast, and wolves rejoice in their wake. For they sing death with their blades. They kindle oblivion with their souls. They are the harbingers of sorrow. They are Narsumo's scourge of Cern. When your nightmares lay broken at their feet, you will come to realize it is they you should have feared all along.
Hi, my name's Ryan Lamb. I'm one of the creators of Blood and Snow. Story and adventure are two of the most important things to me about video games, especially in the fantasy genre. And making my character look exactly the way I want him to look, especially in a role-playing game, is one of the most important things I can think of. And these are the kinds of things that we've been thinking of as a team while developing Blood and Snow. Our game's about exploration and discovery, and that extends past mere geography. We're designing both of those traits into our combat system and our crafting system, as well as our world exploration. We also love the social aspect of gaming. That's why we've had co-op in mind from the beginning of the development process. So let's talk about each of these things one at a time. First, let's talk customization. In Blood and Snow, you'll see most of the features that you're used to in an RPG, plus a few extras you may not have seen. Things like sizing and spacing of individual body parts, hair and eye color are par for the course. Our system has all of that, plus the ability to custom craft your own hairstyles, tattoos, and scars. Rather than just picking from 20 different hairstyles, you'll be able to select a different hair node, place it somewhere on the head, and then grow it out or cut it short. And in that way, by placing multiple hair nodes, you can essentially create your own unique hairstyles. You'll also be able to use built-in symbols to craft your own tattoos, and then you can place them anywhere on the character's body that you want. So you'll be able to actually create a truly unique character in Blood and Snow, rather than a copy of somebody else's character, and you'll never run across a character that looks exactly the same as yours. So customization also extends to weapons, armor, mounts. Pretty much anything you can think of in this game is customizable. And that means that you can change the placement of decorations on your armor. You can place saddlebags and armor on your horse in different spots. It's pretty much anything you can imagine you're going to be able to do. That also is happening at runtime underneath the hood, because the engine is using this customization system to piece together enemies and give them a random look. So, for instance, a cave spider could have 10 different abdomen types, 10 different heads, 10 different types of legs, and then maybe some decorations like scars or boils or something to make them look a little bit nastier. And the computer knows that when it generates this crowd of spiders, it can place all those body parts at random on those characters. And so you're going to essentially get, even though you're fighting the same types of characters, you're going to get randomized versions of them. So that makes the game a lot more interesting and replayable. Let's talk about crafting. I don't know about you guys, but I'm sick of role-playing games forcing me to create the same objects over and over again. I don't want to have to create 100 steel daggers to move on to the next type of ore. So the way we've built our crafting system is much more open and exploratory. Basically, what you do is you attain templates around the world. The templates will give you a pattern for a certain type of item, whether that be a piece of armor or a weapon. So let's say you attain a template for a short sword. That short sword template isn't going to tell you what kinds of metal, wood, and leather to use. It's just going to tell you need five bars of metal for the blade, you need 1 plank of wood for the handle, and you need 3 strips of leather for the pommel. So then it's going to be up to you to put in whatever kinds of metal you want, and you can even mix and match the bars. Then you're going to choose the type of leather and the type of wood to use, and these things are all going to affect the properties of the weapon and the quality of the weapon. And then it goes even a step further, because rather than basing your skill on the number of items that you've created, your skill is based on mini games during this creation process. You're going to have to take that raw ore and smelt it into workable bars. And then when you're ready to actually craft a weapon or a piece of armor, you're going to have to melt those bars, put them into a template, and you're going to have to hammer them out and then reheat them and hammer them again and reheat them until you've got the shape the way it's supposed to be. And then you're going to have to temper that metal, and if it's a blade, you'll have to grind it and sharpen it. And each one of these steps is going to require a skill-based mini-game that is going to allow players to basically have a skill that maybe another player might not be able to attain just because they don't have the aptitude to do what you're doing. I'm not going to get into too much detail, but I'll tell you that it's real-time combat, that it's physics-based. So that means that it can interact with the world, it can interact with enemy spells, it can interact with player spells and abilities, and basically that means that there are hybrid combinations that are just waiting to be discovered. And because it's dynamic, there aren't any set combinations. We haven't created, you know, if a fireball combines with a whirlwind, it creates a firestorm. We haven't done that. Basically, the premise is if somebody casts a whirlwind spell and you cast a fireball into those, the physics that are being generated inside of that whirlwind are going to propel those fireballs based on the angle they enter that vortex. And it could be different every single time. So you can just imagine the kind of interactions that you'll be able to create with these kinds of spells. We've also built the combat system to be completely accessible right from the beginning. We don't want you to have to work your way up a tree just to get to that one ability that you want. So it's a flattened ability tree. You'll have access to every single spell and ability from the beginning. There is no class. You're building your own hybrid class based on the skills that you choose. And then each of those skills has its own tree. So essentially you're leveling skills rather than leveling a skill tree. And by doing that, you're choosing which attributes you want to place into your skills. And that means that each player, even if they are using the same skill, might have completely different properties attached to that skill, and therefore completely different play styles. The world of Cyrn, which Blood and Snow is based in, it was created by a race of demon lords called the Spiri. Now they're kind of a fickle race, and after a few hundred years they get tired of Cyrn, and they decide they want to leave, but they don't know how. They've forgotten. They're so wrapped up in their creations that they've just plain forgotten how to do it. So they come up with a dark ritual in which they have to sacrifice many of their own. And in doing this, they create a huge arcane explosion that devastates most of the world. Now, some of the Spiri are able to escape using the energy that's created by this ritual, but those left behind are driven mad, either by exposure to the explosion or just by sudden separation from their peers. So they created mankind before they left, and mankind has slowly been polluting their bloodline. They're no longer as powerful as they used to be when they were pure-blooded from the first man or first woman. And they've separated into factions, and they're fighting each other. And these factions and this infighting has created a lack of preparation for when the Spiri actually come back. And that's at the point, this is the point when the game starts. The Spiri have come back, and they want to take their world back. They want to rule these creations that they made. And the only people that are standing between, the only thing that's standing between mankind and the wrath of the Spiri are these people called the Narsimon. Now, the Narsimon used to be mere mortals, just like the rest of mankind. But they got together at the behest of the first man and woman, and they undertook another dark ritual which bound their souls to the souls of some of these mad, nascent Spiri that were left behind. And this gives them magical properties that they couldn't otherwise access, but it also gives them this inner battle. They're always fighting this inner demon in a literal sense. And so you, as the player, will take the role of one of these Narsimon, and it'll be up to you to choose whether you help the Spiri or you fight the Spiri. So thanks for coming to our Kickstarter page. Really appreciate you watching this video, and I hope that you're interested enough in this game that you'll be able to contribute somewhat. We have a lot of great rewards, including early game access, extra copies of the game, digital art books, development credits, and lots of in-game items. Don't forget to look up the early bird rewards and also the Bring a Buddy rewards. Thanks a lot. We look forward to seeing you in the game.
That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah. There's a few talking points I want to address about this. First is obviously customization is a big part, but I want to talk about the story first for a second. I mean, they go over it in the video, but I want to read just a little part of the Kickstarter page because this is really interesting to me. It says, "We want to focus on giving players lots of choices, but unlike other games, we think it's important to make you choose between bad and worse instead of bad and good. The gray areas of life and the complexity of the human psyche are our focus, and we want to drag you into the depths of moral conflict." Now, this is especially interesting to me because I'm the kind of player that I really like. I never choose the bad options in any game. Like I've
I
never
have so much
harvested a
trouble.
little sister in BioShock.
Yeah.
I don't even know what the animation looks like because I refuse to watch it.
Good.
I've never made a renegade choice in Mass Effect. I was always, the Jedi. Who got the
Dishonored.
considerably less fun powers in Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah.
Like I do for Dishonored, for Deus Ex. I always do the no-kill runs.
Yep.
So I'm like clean slate. Can't do any wrong. Don't even steal things in Skyrim. I don't take what's not mine.
Nope, me neither. I'll pay for it.
So when you tell me that my only choices are bad and worse, like that's a completely new experience for me, and it's something I'm willing to try, just because there's no other option. Like I have to choose something, the lesser of two evils. That really intrigues me. The other thing that I love as an RPG fan is customization, and there is not like a moment of this game that you can't customize from your playstyle, because there's no classes. You can choose. You just put attribute points wherever you want and level up spells as you see fit. So no classes. Everything from armor to weapons to even the mount is customizable. I assume the armor and everything. Branching dialogue, every aspect of the experience is customizable.
Now, no, go ahead.
Go ahead. Okay, I was just gonna say it's really interesting because there's a cooperative component. It's up to 4 players, couch co-op. They want to do online co-op, but they need more resources for it.
Yeah.
But having 4 players in a role-playing environment is not something I'm accustomed to, and I wonder if it's going to slow the game or pick up the pace. I'm interested to see how 4-player co-op is going to work in a isometric 3D role-playing game.
Yeah, that can really go 2 ways. Like, the multiplayer in Baldur's Gate was horrible, but the multiplayer in Hunter the Reckoning was amazing. So...
Right.
What was I going to say? Oh, one of the things that always is a bit of a red light to me is I love when games want to be this customizable. There are no classes. You level up your skills so you can choose any skill in the game right from the beginning. However, I find that if they don't introduce the game correctly, that they will overwhelm the player, and it's like Path of Exile. I logged into Path of Exile the first time. They're like, you leveled up, you get a talent point. I was like, cool, what can I put this into? And I opened up their talent page. And I don't know if you've played it, Vinny, but it's like probably about 10 screens worth of dots. And there is probably about 100 dots on every screen, and you can put it into any one. I opened it up, I was like, nope. Close the game, never went back to it. Because it's just completely overwhelming that way. So that is one thing I would be worried about, though. It looks like they have a solid game that they've made, and they know how they want to present it.
Yeah. One of the things about the weapon customization, I can't really recall seeing anything like this in my immediate memory, but when you get a new item, it has base stats, like anything would. Like the example they give in the Kickstarter is 10 strength and 15 stamina. Now, these higher tiered weapons can be broken down, and there's going to be a ratio that they haven't yet determined for stat points. So let's say this thing is 10 strength and 15 stamina, so 25 points total. You can destroy the weapon and recreate it with 5 stat points instead of the 25. It's a 5-to-1 ratio, and use it, put them into whatever skill you deem worthy. So you can customize the weapons. There's a bit of a trade-off if you don't want the base stats that they give you, but I think that's a really neat idea to rebuild the weapon, just because maybe you like the visual aspect, or it has some type of secondary passive ability that you want to keep, but the stats are no good. You can kind of build your own.
I also really enjoyed that crafting system. Like, it's, if you want to build a sword, cool. Well, here's how you have to iron out the ore, so you can, or smelt the ore, then you have to iron out the bar, then you have to like grind the blade, then you have to temper it, then you have to make the tang. Like, it's really neat. I like the way that they're doing that. Okay.
I'm pretty excited.
Yeah.
Oh, we didn't talk about the goal. It's a pretty big goal, $50,000, but they're over 7,000 already in just the first 5 days. So if they get a pretty good push over the next few weeks, I think they'll do okay.
Okay, next one. Let's make sure I'm doing this correctly. So it's loading human.
Yes, it is.
Oh, virtual reality experience or adventure. Interesting. So this one, wow. 6 days into the Kickstarter and it's already 60% backed.
Yeah, I'm thinking people are pretty interested. Well, I mean, it's pretty hard not to be intrigued when you see the front banner that says Oculus Rift plus Unreal Engine 4. I think it gets people curious.
Okay, let's see what it's all about. Holy sh...
I've always been destined to be sacrificed for my father. Even my name, Prometheus, was his promise of a stolen life. But now my fate is lost in the heart of Alice. So maybe I did not choose what I am, but I will choose what to become.
Loading Human is an old-style adventure game that has been specifically designed for the best virtual reality experience by taking advantage of the Oculus Rift and the STEM or Hydra controllers. Think of the old point-and-click adventure of the 90s, such as Monkey Island or Beneath a Steel Sky, but this time it's virtual reality with no interface, only your eyes, your ears, and your movements.
The player embodies Prometheus in a world that is full of objects he can interact with.
Let's say Prometheus needs to melt an ice cube to progress in the story.
He can open the fridge, pick up the ice cube, pick up a pan, use the ice cube with a pen, put the pan over the gas cooker and push the button to turn on the fire.
And this was just about melting some ice. Now, imagine the possibilities in an entire world. For us, it is crucial to have an engaging story. And having worked with many visionary geniuses, such as Woody Allen or Peter Greenaway, has given me the opportunity to deal with Loading Human's story just like if it was a movie. Think of it as a drama with touches of thriller and science fiction, with a hero, nostalgic and romantic, that is forced against his will to change the course of human history in an interactive adventure.
This doesn't work. I need to find another way to turn the engine off.
Above all, we are gamers. We played a lot of adventure games and we love virtual reality. That's why we started Loading Human.
So what about you? Do you think video games should be deep, emotional experiences that could be compared to great movies or great books? If so, this project is for you. Loading Human is one of a kind. It is our dream to honor and reboot the adventure genre by merging the emotional depth of a movie with the interactivity of virtual reality. This work requires skills, creativity, passion, and last but not least, you. We know this is not an easy task, but you can trust us. We are up to it. So back us up. We won't disappoint you.
Play the game.
I can see why they need the 30 grand if they're like hiring programmers from the modeling agency.
I mean, clearly Tom Hiddleston wasn't available, so they found his double. But, I mean, this game, when I saw this game, my first thought was, this is the game I've been asking for since Microsoft told me that Kinect had possibilities as a gaming application.
Yeah.
Because, like, motion gaming is okay if you like to exercise, but it's not really fun for anything else yet, but it could be.
Well, come on, Steel Battalion was almost not like a butt hurt.
So, like, we started getting there with the PlayStation Move, and, you know, obviously the Wii U Motion Plus started that with the nunchuck, putting something in our hands to help with the motion. But this is basically the culmination of everything that we're working on, from virtual reality to motion gaming, in a really great narrative-driven package. So I really cannot wait to see what they do with this one.
Yeah, and let us, oh my god, prove ourselves wrong in the same episode. Before we were saying about how needing a peripheral is going to hinder the Kickstarter because people aren't necessarily going to have that peripheral or want to pay for it. However, this game looks like it requires not one, but 2 peripherals, and in a week they're already mostly backed.
Yeah, now I mean that's certainly a hindrance. Like, I don't know when I'm going to have an Oculus Rift unless the developer would like to provide one so I can review things. But and I don't know about the Razer either. But
yeah,
assumedly, I guess it depends on how much the stuff costs at launch and going forward. But that is a real hurdle that people aren't going to have this tech. But an experience like this, you can't really have it any other way.
Yeah.
So in this case, I understand the need, just because the entire experience is centered around it.
As well, one other thing that this game is touching on that I have preached about for probably close to about 2 years now is how the natural evolution of what, like, I always said AAA gaming, but the natural evolution of where gaming narratives are going to go is something more akin to, like, Hollywood, where you see games like The Last of Us, or you see games like Beyond Two Souls. Even Beyond Two Souls is great because they actually have actors in the game that are acting. Anyway, this game is showing you again that they're trying to take this point-and-click adventure and turn it into, like, a summer blockbuster.
Yeah. Now, the other interesting thing, I mean, I guess the thing about needing peripherals, it's a little bit easier if you can get onto consoles, because more people will adopt, something like Project Morpheus or Kinect if Microsoft or Sony say so.
Yeah.
And Loading Human is going to be on PlayStation 4, or at least that's what they hope for.
Yeah.
So something like that, it's already easier because the Move already has an install base, and Project Morpheus, I assume, because they'll want to sell it, will come in at a pretty reasonable price tier at launch. So that's a little bit easier when you do it on consoles. But they're going to have no problem getting backed, that's for sure.
No, they will be just fine there. Okay, and the last game that we're going to touch on today is called Red Goddess Inner World.
Yeah. I don't know if you want to play we're going to go a little bit over time, but I guess that's okay.
Okay. That's all
if you
good.
want to play the whole video or not.
We'll check it out. 7 minutes is not too bad.
Okay.
Oh, that music. I think that's actually a good place to cut.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
So this one, I mean, you didn't think we were going to go a whole show without showing off a Metroidvania, did you? Second of all, this has a really unique mechanic of I don't know, it's almost like an escort mission with yourself, because they call it what do they call it? Gameplay, character ball gameplay, where you can select half of the main character, either the rage or the fear aspect, and the second half just appears as that little stone that you can then throw. And it's both an attack, and it's used for puzzle solving, because you can obviously teleport yourself to wherever it lands. And the other interesting aspect is being able to enter the mind of enemies, which is its own, I believe it's like its own mini-game, where you get to go through puzzles and solve lost memories, because I believe the whole idea is she's trying to recover her memories, and this environment is fragmented pieces of, I guess, her personality. But it
Really
looks pretty
cool.
nice. That music's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Oh my god, do I need that soundtrack?
I've never looked at a Kickstarter and been like, okay, where's the tier for the soundtrack? Because
Yeah.
that's where I want to back.
Yeah, that's. I was just checking that out.
Does it come with the game? Oh, that's okay. I'll just take the soundtrack.
Oh, $25. There we go.
There it is. Not too bad. So I think it's an interesting story. I think it's interesting gameplay. I think the enemies look pretty unique, to be honest with you.
I love
creatures that she comes up against.
I love the design, actually, because you're taking something that it's really hard to do. Like, it's like, okay, we're going to have a planet. Well, that's a lot of potential. What are we going to do? We need to throw as much bright color in this as we're going to, but still have it, like, she's going through this one tunnel in the thing that we're looking at. And while she stands out as this warm red, yellow fire, the rest of the tunnel is more cool colors, cool greens, cool blues, but it still has so many colors that it stands out, and it's very visually appealing.
Yeah, for sure. The other thing I want to say is, I think that we were talking about comic art being in games a lot. This game actually has an accompanying comic book, a tie-in comic.
Oh, cool.
I don't know if it's going to be a prequel or just about the story itself. But yeah, I think that's really a neat idea as far as like secondary story interactions. Because a lot of AAA games try to do books that are not direct tie-ins to the game or anything. It's just world building, and I think that's really awesome when you can do cross-media and cross-platform storytelling.
Yeah,
So,
totally.
I mean, I don't know how much it costs to make a comic book, but if it's relatively inexpensive as opposed to publishing like a hardcover book or anything, I would definitely encourage more indies to, make tie-in comics, because I think a lot of us who play indie games, will also be interested in comics.
Yeah, and on that note, that's pretty much going to wrap it up for today's show. So thanks everybody for coming to join us. I hope you guys found some cool games. Go back all of them. Just spend all the money that you've ever made on the games that we tell you to back.
Hey, I mean, it's a lot of good stuff. It's a lot of interesting stuff. Even if you can't back, just spread the word if it's something that interests you, because you never know. Getting the word out there is most of the battle for a lot of indies.
Yeah,
so
totally.
be sure to share it. But yeah, definitely. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for joining us for this hour and a half. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to check us out on our Hitbox website. So we have great content coming throughout the week. This week we're actually doing kind of a special weekly thing starting on Tuesday, but if you want to see what that is, you'll have to tune in.
Yeah. Oh, I was also going to say, I put together the new profile. I don't know if you noticed, the profile page for Hitbox is now almost completely done. We have one more graphic to add later in the week, which we will do. But I think it looks really nice, so I have to give a special shout out to Toby, who's our graphics guy. He did a pretty awesome job, I think.
Yeah, totally. It looks great.
So yeah, that is going to do it for us. Hopefully
Yeah.
Bonnie joins us again next week, so the Trinity will be once again reforged.
Until then, thanks again, Vinny, for joining us. And
Always a pleasure.
Thanks again, everybody, for watching. Until tomorrow, much love, and we'll see you then.
Enjoy the weekend, everyone.
The video games industry is one of the most innovative and fastest growing industries in the world. The men and women of this industry work tirelessly to provide entertainment for the masses, and some of these provide the music that we love, music that we listen to when we're enjoying ourselves playing those video games, music that we love, music that we listen to when we're enjoying ourselves listening to video games. Do we even know who these people are? No. Would video games be the same without them? No.